Greetings, everyone. Thank you for participating in today's Trident Academy session, Trends in AV, How to Approach and Design Rooms. It will be presented by Mr. Kubi Levy, Director of Technical Services at Atlona EMEA. I'm Mainem, Channel Sales Executive, and I'll be moderating the webinar for today. The webinar will be starting shortly. Please, if you have any questions, submit them through the Q&A functionality in the control panel. Mr. Kubi will be answering all your questions live at the end of the session. Now, without any further delay, I leave the stage to Mr. Kubi. Mr. Kubi, you can start the presentation.
Sure. Thank you very much. Thank you for the introduction. Guys, thank you for joining this session, this webinar. Happy to have you. Trends in AV design. When we are approaching to design a project, to design AV rooms, what we should take into consideration, where we are starting and how we are delivering a complete project solution to our customer. I will try to answer all these questions in this session. Okay, but before we are diving into designing an AV room, we need to cover 3 topics. The first one, we need to understand and know the technology, what is available today, what it can deliver, what is the spec of that technology that we are choosing. We need to qualify the application to see that we actually can provide what the customer want us to design for him, provide. And of course, we need to specify the solution, product, and so on. There are several business segments where Atlona and Trident are playing, and this will be the corporate enterprise, higher education, government, hospitality, and under each category, there are different type of rooms. Not necessarily different equipment will go into these rooms, but we are designing several products for each business segment. If it is in the corporate enterprise, I will have more corporate AV equipment. I might have DSP, I might have different type of microphones, projector. Not necessarily I will have the same equipment in a courtroom or in a small classroom. Definitely not the same equipment in the bar restaurants, but in AV distribution at the campus, yes, I will have the same, almost the same equipment in the enterprise AV distribution. And we will see more type or these type of rooms more in detail later on. There are circuit-based AV solutions, network AV, and today's trend is to combine both to a complete solution, to a hybrid solution between the circuit-based and the network AV. And of course, there is another layer of control and management. Okay, so let's start to understand and know the technology. We will start with a very basic one, which is a typical AV room. What you will find in a typical AV room. You'll find a screen, a projector. Sometimes it will be just a display, 55 inch, 65 inch. You will have a network device, keypad maybe a touch panel mounted to the wall, maybe a portable one as a tablet. You have several sources. The video equipment, the switcher itself, management, and so on. Okay, so this is what typical circuit-based solution would be. And we will start with the very basic, which is the HDMI cable. We all know HDMI pretty well today. It is a cable which connected our source to the display. If it is set-top box that we got from our cable company, satellite company, if it is my Apple TV, connecting HDMI to the display. This one by itself creates a circuit-based solution. It is HDMI based, but it is still point-to-point solution in the AV. So what is happening? And it is important to take the HDMI handshake negotiation and everything that is happening into consideration when we are designing a room, to see that we are not leaving sources connected all the time, and they do not have the ability to initiate HPD, for example. And we see it as a trend. More and more companies, due to the COVID-19, they want to bring in-house or in-room PC. So it will host the soft codec, and they will provide just keyboard and mouse on a table, so people won't have to bring their own devices. So HPD, hot plug detection, which initialize once we are connecting the laptop to the HDMI. Basically, it's connected all the way to the either video switcher or to the display. Negotiate 5 volt in both directions from the source and from the display back to the laptop, and start EDID negotiation. EDID is the extended display information, and basically it provides the source information, getting the display information, and they are transferring what is supported, what is the display supported in terms of resolution, speed, audio formats, and so on. So once it's connected, run the negotiation, we are getting a picture. And this is an example of EDID, the extended display information data. As you can see here, in this case, I'm working with a Samsung display, and it tells that the screen size is 1290 by 720. What is the preferred resolution? Here it says that the native is, and the preferred one is 1080p at 60. And of course, the display supports many other formats. Okay, so once they are negotiating, they will settle on the preferred, they will settle on the highest and preferred resolution. Another thing to take into consideration is Hdcp. This is the content protection. Many sources, many laptops, today's Apple, MacBooks, Mac Mini, iMacs, all by default, they are sending or requiring Hdcp to be enabled in order to connect to a video switcher, to a display. So when you are coming to design your AV, it is important to check and make sure that all the components are supporting the same Hdcp version. Hdcp, it's a, as I mentioned, content protection. It is a source querying the display or the video switcher. Hey, are you Hdcp compliant? So it's sending the request or the question, and the display responds, yes, here is my public key. The source responds, here is my master key. Now they are negotiating together and getting a picture. Without passing these keys, if the source is Hdcp compliant, require Hdcp, you won't get a picture. So it is very important when we are designing a room to take the Hdcp into consideration. Another thing to take into consideration is bandwidth and why we really care. Like in the internet, if I'm downloading 2 gig of file from Dropbox, how fast I will have file downloaded to my computer. This is exactly the bandwidth. Those who are connected to DSL will be able to get the file within 10 minutes. Those who are connected to a fiber and their ISP allow them a higher access to the internet, they will have it within a minute. So the bandwidth affects how much data we can squeeze into the pipe at a given time. Video require bandwidth. Over the HDMI cable, it runs and require bandwidth to pass from point A to point B, and it is really depends on their content, what is the cable spec, what is the source, and so on. So when we are coming to design a room, it is also important to spec the right HDMI cables. If I'm working, and today we are working with HDMI 2.0, we want to make sure that the HDMI cable that we are using and specing for the AV room meet HDMI 2.0 spec. Okay, if in the past a DVD player had 480p, it is way older the SD world, it was required on less than a gig. Set-top box doing 720p require 2.2 gig of data. And again, this is over the HDMI and so on. Today's 1080p, we are running at 10.2 gig over standard HDMI cable. HDMI 2.0 with 4K and HDR, we require close to the 18. Okay, so we spoke about the HDMI cable, what it has, bandwidth, and so on. Let's see some HDMI solutions. Okay, HDMI-based solution. It can be home office. These days we are working from home. Some days from working from home. Some other days of the week we are traveling to the office. We want to reduce headcount at the office. Some of us still working in capsules. So we are utilizing our home office, and we want to share, maybe connect our laptop to more than one display, connect the laptop or bring a camera, and people will use HDMI-based solution. It can be video conferencing. You don't need much, just video codec, display, and a camera. Okay, so everything can be connected just using HDMI cables. Training room, you have a lecture, you have a podium. You don't need much, just to connect a laptop or in-house computer and a camera to the projector. Okay, huddle spaces, same thing as you can see here. They are connected basically just HDMI to the screen, or if they need a camera or USB or another source, everything can be consolidated into small HDMI-based solution device. The next one is Hdbaset. I'm sure the majority of you guys familiar with Hdbaset and worked with it. And over Hdbaset, we are passing all the 5 key elements: audio and video, Ethernet, power, control, and USB data. The maximum length is up to 100 meter, and the equipment that we are selecting when we are coming to design the room, we have to make sure that the spec is also supports up to 100. Some Hdbaset devices will support up to 40 or 70. So we have to make sure that we are using the right product. With Hdbaset, we can extend the maximum length of the HDMI to a longer. We can connect more than just a source, one source to a display at a time. We can increase the amount of sources. We are just using video switchers. Okay. See, there are some questions here in the chat.
No, we don't have questions yet.
Okay, no problem. Okay, some sample solutions for Hdbaset. If we are talking about divisible room, in the visible room, I can open or close the air wall and take a big room. Let's say that it will host 40 participants, and I can split it into 2 or maybe even 3. And with the Hdbaset technology, I will connect all my sources to a video switcher, and I will have enough outputs to feed all my displays when the room is open, is a big one. And when I'm splitting the room, I will select which sources will be part of room A and which sources will be part of room B. Okay, video conference. If I have several tables, more tables, tables that are more than 5 meters distance from the display. If I have more than one display, if it is an active learning, and I'm connecting my local presentation on the right screen, for example, and I'm receiving the far end video feed, if it is Teams, Zoom, WebEx, or whatever the solution is, and I will connect it to the left screen. Okay, so this is another video conference solution using Hdbaset technology, distance learning, and of course, meeting spaces where I need more than 5 meters to extend my sources from the display or projector. AV over IP. If we spoke about Hdbaset and HDMI, we were locked to the physical room. It can be a small room or bigger room, but it is basically more point-to-point connection. It is from source to a video switcher, from a video switcher to a display, and that's it. I couldn't share with another room, or I couldn't get sources from other rooms unless someone will pull a cable and bring it back as a source to my room. But this is a possible solution for connecting between 1 or 2 rooms. But what will happen if I'm in an auditorium, need to send my session to many people, more than what the auditorium can host? Maybe if I would like to expand it and go from not be just locked to the auditorium, maybe to the cafeteria, maybe to another break room, maybe to another location, maybe to have a kind of a broadcast message across the campus, across the company. AV over IP will allow me to do it. Basically, I'm opening the box, and now I'm able to share my video feed with anyone who is connected to the network. Yes, same limitation, Ethernet limitation, up to 100 meter from the source or from the display back to the switch, to the network switch. But I'm saving a lot of time and money when I'm working with AV over IP. I can expand, I can grow with minimum effort, and I'm paying for what I'm consuming now. And I will explain at the next slide. The AV over IP designed to take the HDMI, the 18.2 gig of data, and squeeze it, compress it, and send it over category cable. It is a network category cable which is capable to go 1 gig. So I need to take and apply and compress video compression algorithm to squeeze it from 18.2 gig to less than 1. And the goal is to have the output, the decoded content, resemble and with visually lossless from the original, from the source. With Hdbaset and Hdmi, it's basically I'm transferring the data from point A to point B, and if I'm using the right cables, I will not see a video degradation. I won't touch or affect the video. With video compression, it is a bit more tricky because I'm taking a very high bitrate, compressing and squeezing under 1 gig. I need to be efficient and provide also low latency, so I won't touch the video quality, and I will provide the customer good experience. Good experience I'm referring to when he's connecting his laptop and moving the mouse, I want immediately to see the effect on the screen. I cannot allow 400, 500 milliseconds delay. So it is important for us to keep the video quality and also provide very fast response from the source all the way to the decoder. Okay, and this is what we are doing. We are using, Atlona is using with the Hdmi solution, the VC2 video compression. It is a broadcast grade VC2, if you're not familiar with, innovated. It's a BBC innovation somewhere in 1982, if I'm not mistaken, when they started and wanted to broadcast the Olympic Games back to the US. They used the VC2, and at the end they made it open and available to the public to use, and this is what Atlona is using. So it's visually lossless and ultra low latency. And when we're talking about ultra low latency, we're talking about 9 milliseconds delay between the source, the original, and what you see on the screen. Okay. Benefits, and I say that yes, it will save you time and money. And I will give you a very basic example. If someone doing or requiring to have 7 sources connected to 3 displays, if you will go with the Hdbaset solution, it will be a video matrix 8x8. Basically, you are paying upfront on unused HDMI at the input and 5 unused outputs. It is okay. The price probably justified, but think about the future. You want to grow. Now you want to add, excuse me, you want to add 2 more displays. It's easy. Okay, I have 5 vacant interfaces. It is okay. I will connect. But what will happen if I need to add more than that? If I need to add more sources? I had a good year, expanded my business, acquired or rented the rest of the floor. Now I need more offices. I want to share the video between the right section of the building with the left one. I need to change the hardware. I need to go from 8x8 to 16x16. And what will happen if I need to expand more? At that point, AV over IP will give you the best value, as you are paying up now for the amount of sources that you need and the amount of decoders. And when you add more sources or more displays in the future, you're just adding those specific components. All they need to do is just to connect them to the network. So growth, expansion is super easy with the AV over IP. Some samples for AV over IP, it is enterprise distribution. If I have an office in New York and another office in Los Angeles, and I want to share video feeds, I can do that. Of course, I need to make sure that they have the right fiber connection between the sites and so on, but it is doable. Courtroom, government, as you can see that you have many small devices at the core displays at the courtroom, and you can share information between the plaintiff tariff or the judge or so on. Active learning classrooms, where today's another trend is to keep small capsules. They're gonna be they will have their dedicated desk and so on, working in very small groups. They will connect their laptop, they'll be able to share. The professor, lecturer will be able to select which source he wants to connect, and things can be very dynamic. Video walls, the AV over IP, the decoders, one of their great features is that they can be part of a video wall. It's part of the product spec. So this is an example of a 4x4 video wall that we have in Lucas Oil Stadium. All IP meeting space. Instead of using the AV video switcher, we are all using encoders and decoders in a conference room, other rooms in the entire facility, and we are able to share data between the rooms. Okay, and of course, the same divisible room that we saw earlier, applicable to this one. It's another option for divisible room. I won't call it a trend because USB is with us for a very long time now, but USB-C is a new trend, or it is a trend that is happening now in the market, especially in the AV market. But before we go and talk about the USB-C, let's understand first of all the basic spec differences between USB 2.0, USB 3.1. Some will say that it is 3 Gen 1, 3 Gen 2, which is equivalent to USB 3.1. You'll see it is a jungle of specs. Basically, there is no spec. Any vendor is basically doing whatever you want. If it is IBM, HP, Dell, they are close to each other, but there is no single definition in the format. Yes, there is an agreement about the connector, which is a great thing to have the USB-C. It eliminates the need to check what is the right direction of the USB interface that you are plugging in. It's just plug either up or down, it will fit. USB 2.0 has been around for several years and has 480 meg of data you can transfer. With the USB 3.0 Gen 1, we are able to pass 5 gigabit per second of information. USB 3.1, we are capable, it's really ultra fast speed, and we are able to pass 10 gigabits per second. See that we have a few questions.
Yes, we have some questions. Do you want to have them now or by the end of the session?
I will finish the USB and we'll start to answer these questions.
Okay.
Okay, so guys, this is the evolution of a USB. USB Mini, Micro, Micro 3.0, USB Type A, Type B, USB 3.0 Type B, and USB-C, Type C. So you can see how many cables, USB cables we have. And if we will try to make things a bit more complex, you may find USB Type A, but it is Type B, but from the 3.0, okay? And yet, if it will be connected to Type USB 2.0 device, you still, even though that you are using the 3.0 cable, you're still gonna get the 480. And there is also USB 2.0 to USB 3.0, and you will get 480. Different types, different versions. And if you're holding a cable and on one of the edge there is Type C, it doesn't mean that it will be that you will get the 5 gig or the 10 gig, because at the other edge there will be maybe USB Type A, as you can see here. Many cameras, Polycom, using this type of a cable, USB Type A to, USB-C, going from the camera out to USB Type A. With such a cable, you will have maximum 480 meg, not the 5 gig. So as you can see, there is no one definition or one spec. People are doing, or companies are doing almost close to others, and us as users, as installers, consultant, and so on, who have to look on the customer requirement. This is one of our challenges, to understand what they want and see that the product that we are selecting, we are integrating, will work and supports between all those connectors and bandwidths. Okay, USB-C will, with the USB-C, you will get up to 5 meter when it is Type A. When it is USB-C to USB-C, it is up to 3 meters. Okay. If I'm taking the USB connectors, cables, and bring them into Atlona world, we will see that with our switchers, we will use USB Type A to Type B. We will use USB-C to USB-C, USB Type A to Mini, and USB Type A to USB Micro. And for each one of these cables, we will have a different purpose and solution. And let's see, in simple video switcher, 4 sources, 2 outputs, 1 HDMI, 1 Hdbaset, with an extender to a small receiver. I will have here 2 USB hosts to be connected with the HDMI. I will have a USB hub devices where I will connect my camera, my DSP, my USB keyboard and mouse, anything, any peripheral device, even a speakerphone, soundbar. I will transfer the data over Hdbaset. New laptops, these trends, especially for those who are working with Mac, you won't find any other interface than USB-C. yes, you might use a USB-C to Ethernet, USB-C to HDMI if you need, but the trend and what we see more and more is laptops and other devices using USB-C to transfer video, data, power, and so on. And of course, the mini USB that you see connected to a laptop on the right side is for us as installers to connect to the device and to update the firmware, or even to check the Hdbaset quality for our installation. In the previous slide, I mentioned that we are able with the Usbc to pass the video and audio, data, power, and so on. So yes, with Atlona devices, in majority of our video switchers with Usbc support, we are able to charge laptops. We are able to pass the USB for data to connect it with your peripheral devices, with the in-room devices. We are able to pass the video and the audio. Okay, so this is the stuff that you see here: USB-C, USB data, the data itself, power, video, audio. Our devices are capable to provide up to 60 watts over the USB-C cable. So MacBook Pro 13 inches, which require 60 watts, will be charged and use all these services: the video, audio, USB, and so on. MacBook Pro 15 inches, for example, require 100 watts. Since our device is capable to provide up to 60, it won't charge, but it will keep the battery at the same level during the presentation or during the session that you are working with the AV system. So if you came to the meeting room with 50% of battery, at the end you will leave still with 50%. Okay, so we will just keep the battery level. Market trend with USB Type-C. If we are looking on market.biz analytics and their report, we see more and more in every segment that USB-C is taking a place. And in 2020, there was estimation that it will be $7.1 billion market, and analysts forecast and guesstimating that in 2030 it would be 33 billion. So the growth rate that we are looking at from year to year, it is 16.6%. Okay, so you will see more and more devices, and of course you will see less and less VGA inputs or even display ports. Slowly, with new products, they will defeat and go away. You will have more and more HDMI and USB-C, and in the future, I believe that USB-C will be the common connector in the AV industry, and we will see less and less HDMI interfaces. USB devices for collaboration. What you might see in a room will be camera, speakerphone, USB keyboard and mouse, smart board with touch capability where they are passing everything back over USB for control, soundbars with or without integrated camera. And this is how everything will come together into AV transmitter and a receiver with several sources. I will have a second source taking over. I'm now presenting, and I will stop here, see the questions. What are the appropriate type of HDMI for application of video conference? So it really depends how many participants in this video conference. Is it one participant? Am I expecting to have more than one or two people connected at the same time at the video conference? Am I using a video codec, hard video codec like Polycom or Cisco telepresence, or it's going to be a soft codec? So it really depends. On small huddle rooms, most likely we will use the HDMI solution based for one local source with a USB sharing and another HDMI or USB-C for those who are coming to the huddle room with their laptop, or I need something bigger, and it will be sufficient with Hdbaset solution. Do I require wireless capability or not? So it really depends. Did we have a fire resistant cable or plenum cables for HDMI? Yes, it is a safety code. There are plenum cables category and HDMI. Atlona doesn't sell these type of cables. This type of HDMI cables will have to be sourced out of Atlona portfolio. What are the recommended distance for HDMI cables? This is a great question. It really depends on the product. With a product with the AV switcher, for example, like the one that you see here, I will ask you, what is the source? Is it 1080p or 4K? If it will be a 4K, I will tell you 3 meter. If it will be 1080p, 5. It really depends on the device itself. With some, you can go to a higher distance. Between a source and display, if you will take Apple TV and you will output 1080p directly, HDMI, directly to a TV, you can go with even with 10 meters. But the minute that you will switch the Apple TV to 4K, or even with HDR, you will have to go with a shorter cable because the degradation will be too high and the bandwidth won't be sufficient. The size of cables and the recommended size of conduits deployed. 28, 26 AWG will be for the Hdbaset cable. For the HDMI, anything that can run the HDMI 2.0, the 18.2 gig of data. As long we are not using active chip. Some cables, in order to keep on their thickness, they have Hdmi chips at the end, at the edges of the HDMI cable, and what they are doing, they are reclocking the data. They are, you can call it manipulating the data. They are compressing in order to pass on a thin cable. These cables might be a challenge. Okay, so keep this one in mind. My main doubt is how we can distribute game console Bluetooth controller. signal because all you can do is extend. You're correct. Bluetooth controller is a challenge. The only way I can think of is connect a USB dongle close to the receiver, and then it will extend the USB. But it is an edge case, and it will fit only very specific applications. If I'm looking on Comcast, which is a broadcaster in the US, they have their cable boxes. In their remote control, they have two options, either IR or Bluetooth. And even Fire TV or the new Apple devices that are supporting Siri and voice command, it is not IR anymore. It is Bluetooth. And today's at the AV market, it is a challenge to pass or distribute the Bluetooth. So yes, it is a challenge. AV over IP is the Dante. Dante is audio distribution, multicast or unicast mode. The AV over IP encoder is capable to extract the audio from the encoder. You're feeding the encoder with the source. We are taking and running the video compression algorithm and sending to the network the video and the audio. These multicasts will be received by the decoder to be decompressed and to be presented over the HDMI to the TV or projector. When a Dante or a DSP with Dante capability is coming to play, and we are able to extract, using the encoder, we're able to extract the audio, the incoming audio, and send another copy of the audio using AES67 as a multicast to the network, and it will be picked up by QSys, Symmetrics, Biamp, and other DSPs or Dante devices that supports AES67. What are the compatibility metrics for the codec VC2 professional with other vendors? So if there is another vendor who is using VC2 as a video compression, I would say that it will work because we are not doing anything proprietary. The same IPTV, for example, if I'm switching from the AV to the IPTV world, in the IPTV, if you have an encoder that sends out H.264 or HEVC video content, you can you can decode the content with any decoder that supports H.264 and HEVC. It can be Motorola set-top box, it can be Sagem, it can be the Google one with the Widevine, it can be Amino set-top boxes, any hardware-based set-top box that's capable to open H.264 or HEVC. With having said that, if the encoder will manipulate the stream or use some proprietary codec or layer of encryption, of course, the other end, the far end, will have to support the same features. Today, the AV industry, as far as I know, Atlona is the only one who is using VC2. Other vendors, manufacturers using different technology. So, unfortunately, we cannot mix and match between vendors. What are the specifications of the USB cables and their related standards? we cover it as a USB type A, B, C. Peripheral devices will be USB type A. Connecting to a host will be type B, and of course type C will take almost everything in terms of services, because everything or all the other USB data will pass to it, and it doesn't matter on the connector. It is a USB-C. It is very important to mention that if you are a Mac user, with your MacBook, you got the charger and the white USB-C cable. You got it USB-C on the right edge and on the left edge. This USB-C cable will charge, and that's it. It won't pass data. It won't pass video or audio. Okay, only specific USB-C cable which designed to pass these elements will work with the system. If you are not using the default and provided USB-C cable that you have inside the box, and yes, Atlona provides with any product that has a USB-C interface, we are providing a cable part of the kit. You will find it as part of the accessories, along with rack mount, ears, legs, Phoenix connectors, etc. You also find power supply if applicable, and the USB-C cable. If you are not using the provided USB-C cable, when you're purchasing, you have to make sure that the USB-C cable will pass video, audio, and of course, power is capable to provide to pass power. Some USB-C cables will be able to pass video, audio, but they will support up to 30 watts for power. So not necessarily that such a cable will be able, you'll be able to charge your laptop. Okay, so preferred, always use the provided cable. Difference between Hdbaset and HDMI cables. It's two different type of cables. One is HDMI point-to-point, and the other one is Hdbaset, which is a category cable. And when we are dealing with a category cable, it can be from 5E and above. Yasser, if you can refine or clarify the question, it will be great.
Please, we have question on the chat. What is the meaning of USB-C in, and if there is no USB-C in or out?
Let me open the chat. So with the USB-C, yes, there is no in or out. When you're connecting a USB-C cable, it is bidirectional, like HDMI that is bidirectional. Well, not all the HDMI cables are bidirectional, but the category cable is bidirectional. USB-C is bidirectional. USB-C to type A won't be bidirectional because you cannot connect it. You won't be able to connect it between the devices. Okay, so there is no really in and out. There is we are referring in and out inside the cable, or in terms of the data that is passing from the peripheral device, speakerphone, all the way to the computer, USB-C, USB data, and I received it with my soft codec, and now I'm pushing back data, maybe if it is a camera or a speakerphone. So there is back and forth, in and out traffic over the USB-C cable. So the connectors themselves, they are bidirectional, but I was referring more to the data that pass along the cable. BYOD. BYOD stands for bring your own device. Okay, and due to COVID-19, we can expand it, not just device. Bring also your own cable. Some people, they don't want to touch a cable that there is laying on the table, or someone else already touched it before and connected to their laptops. So one of the trends that we see today, especially when people are not attending the office every day, they are sharing workspace. Of course, every day that there is a cleaning and fixing to the next guest, or if someone booked that meeting room or booked the cubicle, most likely he will come in with his laptop and his cable, HDMI cable or USB-C cable, and he will connect it between his device and the patch panel. Okay, so here in this slide, I will refer to BYOD, bring your own device, and it will be refer more to the wireless capability. It's taking more and more in today's trend. We see more and more requests for wireless. If it is Mac, Windows laptops, Android cell phones, iOS devices, Chromebooks, Miracast devices, and Atlona supports all these three main technologies: AirPlay, Chromecast, and Miracast. AirPlay for Apple, if it is iPad, if it is iPhone, if it is Mac Mini, all of them are supporting AirPlay, and we are capable to receive those messages, those streams, and display them on the projector or display. Chromecast, if it is Chromecast Chromebooks, if it is Chrome browser, you can stream it as well using Chromecast technology. Miracast, this is the Microsoft solution. Take Windows laptop, Windows 8.1 and above, preferred the 10, and basically send your laptop screen wirelessly to the device, and from there it will be connected to the screen. Okay, of course, our devices supporting the security features if it is 802.1x, if it is with a firewall to prevent those who are streaming to access my corporate network, even if you're working with a control system to prevent users to jump in and interfere the presentation. They will have a moderator to control the session. Okay, and of course the Atlona Velocity, which is the IP-based AV control and management. This is the third layer on top of the HDMI-based solution, Hdbaset, AV over IP, and we have the Velocity, the control system. So up to here, we cover point-to-point, we cover the HDMI, we cover Hdbaset, AV over IP, USB, and wireless BYOD. So we covered the technology, we qualified the application. We need to pitch why Atlona. First of all, we are very proud. 10 years of warranty. We will cover, we get your back. Atlona is a total solution partner. We are small enough to care about you and large enough to make a difference in your business. We build affordable communication solutions to enable collaboration in commercial, education, and retail spaces. And we are providing few unique solutions and services, advanced solution at affordable, really at affordable prices, modern technology to enable best-in-class AV solutions, if it is Hdbaset, HDR, 4K, AV over IP, IP control, and so on, end-to-end training and support. When we are coming to qualify application, we need to gather information in order for us to be efficient with our job and provide what the customer want. And this is a challenge. We need to understand what the customer want and provide it. So we will start with the basic. How many participants? If I'm dealing with a conference room, how many participants? Going to be 1 or 4, or is it going to be 8? How many sources? How this space will be used? Who will use the space? Do they need touch panel? Do they need just a keypad? Are we relying on auto switching? So it affects the solution. What do they want to share? Is it just a laptop? Is it going to be a camera? Is it going to be soft codec? How do they need to communicate? What type of VC platform will be in use? Is it Polycom? Is it going to be Cisco? How is it going to be connected? How many displays? What about audio? How will someone operate the room and applications? Again, touch panel, keypad, auto switching. At what level of automation we are looking, if there is any. Who will handle ongoing management of the resources? And the most important, what is the budget? Okay, someone can ask and to have everything, but his budget is for HDMI-based solution. Okay, so it is also important to know and understand. And these are the type of examples. We have collaboration space, huddle rooms, wired or wireless, that basically would be for 6 to 10 people with or without BYOD. And when we are dealing with Hdbaset solution is Omega. Omega is a refresh product design reflecting the evolving trend for sharing information and to facilitate better productivity. Why Omega? Okay, we did a refresh. We took everything that we've learned from the Hdbaset world with 4K and USB and everything, and now we created new product from scratch to have everything within the Omega series. It's a refresh to the market, add new technology, provide an upgrade path, consolidate SKU count. You need less equipment to pass USB, video, audio de-embedding, and so on. Automatic display control is built into the Omega product. Automation input selection, auto switching is part of the product. It is really small form factor, doing 4K control with the AMS, which is the Atlona management system. And when we are pitching the Omega, it is good for meeting rooms, conference rooms, auditoriums, lecture halls, active learning, lecture, dual display rooms, video conferencing, interactive displays, and so on. So all the business segments we saw at the beginning. Video conferencing room with Zoom room is also another option. 1 to 8, it can be with Hdbaset solution, can be with just small HDMI circuit base. Okay, it's really depends on what I need, and of course I can use all these soft codec and new soft codec that will be in the future. And active learning classrooms. These days we are flipping the typical traditional classrooms to use more student-centered learning strategies, including discussions, problem-based learning, small groups, more still in small capsules, keeping the social distance from other members and sharing their sources to the screen for the rest of the students. IP-based meeting room, the solutions that where Hdbaset came to a play. If I need more than what traditional or regular Hdbaset video switchers matrix will be able to provide, IP encoders, decoders will be able to provide it, and even more. Okay, OmniStream is the encoders and decoders. It's a really a flexible and scalable way to deliver AV over gigabit networks. When combined with Velocity, OmniStream is the ultimate cost-effective scalable solution for your customer's application. It has really low latency. We spoke about 9 milliseconds end-to-end, ultra high resolution 4K HDR, also supports Dolby Vision. Reliability, it is 24/7 application. We are playing in several network operation centers and mission critical applications. Redundancy, with Spec Differences, 10 years of warranty, and we are able to play, and we are playing in these markets: corporate, education, government, hospitality, and retail with the AV over IP. And this is an example for video wall 2x3 in a retail customer. If we mention video wall, we are using cost-effective OmniStream decoders and consumer displays to create large application video solution. As you can see, I have here several sources, encoders sending their traffic to the network. I have here decoders connected behind the displays to the 6 displays, creating the video wall, and I'm able to stream or display a full picture or individual single or 2x2 and 2 singles, 1x3 and 3 singles, and I can play with it. I can do custom drop zones, no additional hardware or licenses needed. It's part of the product, and we can play with the portrait, either 90 degree, 270 degree, and so on. Quick summary, the circuit base will typically go to collaboration space, wired and wireless BYOD, and huddle rooms, and you will find that we will spec more and more AV over IP solution to active learning classrooms, all IP meeting space, and of course video wall applications. Shireen, how much more time we have?
So we almost passed the time by 10 minutes.
Okay, so in huddle room, 1 to 4 participants with presenter, where USB devices and camera video conference required, but no touch panel. We want everything automated, 0 user interface. We will use such a product. The OME Omega MH21 is 2 inputs, 1 output, HDMI and USB, HDMI to the display, HDMI camera with the USB to the unit, a laptop HDMI and the USB, USB hub for the speakerphone, and another laptop with a USB-C. They will flip auto switching. It can be USB-C as bring your own device to connect, and a small NUC PC connected, or to have a two different type of connection on the table for someone who is coming with his 3 years old Lenovo laptop with HDMI, or someone is coming with his recent Dell laptop with USB-C. Okay, so auto switching, display control is already embedded into this device. So once hot plug detection recognized, the device will automatically send the turn on signal to the display, either CC or IP or RS-232, okay, out of the box. So this is the product itself that goes in here. Really small device. Another type of huddle room, if I don't need more than one source, I just need to extend. I will have HDMI, USB, speakerphone, Hdbaset to a receiver connected to a display, HDMI, and the camera. Okay, so it's another solution. Goes here, transmitter and receiver. Dual display, 4 to 10 people. I will use the Switch 32. It is a device that is capable to use 2 HDMI in, 1 USB-C in, and 2 HDMI out. Still small environment. I'm not using Hdbaset solution. I'm able to de-embed the audio and send it to an amplifier and to the room speakers. Auto switching, and I can define either if I'm working in a mirror mode or fully matrix mode, and in fully matrix mode, I'm able to send each one of the sources to any display that I desire, okay, as shown here in this case. Another application using the Switch 32, laptop, HDMI, USB. I'm using a VTC camera, confidence monitor can use it. I'm using a VC codec and a control system, touch panel, camera, bringing everything here to my laptop. Video conferencing room, if I'm using a soft codec, if in case I'm using Skype, Zoom, Cisco, WebEx, GoToMeeting, whatever soft codec I have, I will be able to bring the camera over the Hdbaset peripheral devices, connect them to my computer using the USB host cable or USB-C, and use the soft codec. Okay. In this case, I will use the MS42, and this is the device, camera, receiver, several inputs, 2 hosts. So technically, I can connect here 3 USB hosts. USB-C, it is a host by itself, 2 additional USB hosts, 1, 2, 3, 4 USB HID for peripheral devices. Okay, and I'm bringing all those devices back to my connected source. HyFlex Classroom, this is live face-to-face and online instruction, confidence monitor, multiple cameras, front projection, display, microphone, in-room audio system, advanced control solutions. So it starts to be more complex. More devices are connected, and of course we're still using the MS42, and you can see the components here. Conference room BYOD, same Hdbaset solutions that we used so far. Now we are adding the BYOD for the wireless casting we spoke earlier. Okay. In this case, we are using the MS52. switcher, similar to the MS42, but the fifth incoming source is the wireless one. Okay, same components, same application. Now I'm just bringing the wireless capability. A question that I'm getting a lot: can we pass USB using the wireless connectivity? The answer is not yet. With the upcoming product, Wave 101, yes, we will be able to do that. Active learning classroom is, as we spoke before, it will be most likely for the either AV over IP or the bigger Omega platform, the presentation switcher 61 here in this case, which is capable to get several Hdbaset ins from the tables, from local HDMI, USB hosts, devices with scalers. And as you can see here, now it is divided to on a bigger room. Okay, so one group, another group, and this is probably the biggest group with the lectured professor and the local sources connected to the display. The visible room, again, with AV over IP. This is the most cost-effective. Several sources, network switch, decoders reserved for the right side, a decoder reserved for the left side. And of course, when the room is open, we are getting all sources available, and we'll be able to route them easily to each one of my displays. Okay, as you can see here, several sources and decoders connected to the display. We have also, as a resource for consultants, for system integrators, you're not sure how to spec, what product to spec, simply go to Atlona website, atlona.com website, go to solutions, select the Omega room builder, and you'll be able to select the type of room you are working on and provide information where the sources, how many sources, with USB, without USB, with in-room PC or not, and we will offer you, or the system generate you the recommended equipment. Let's go back to questions. A question here: are your AV devices, speaker and camera, IP-based, or can it be configurable? So we do not have a speaker phone. All you see here is a third party like Jabra speakerphone and others. They are connected USB to the platform. The camera that we have, the HDBS camera, it has 3 flavors: USB, HDMI, and the USB, or camera with Hdbaset solution. The Hdbaset, the camera with Hdbaset solution, will most likely go to monitoring, security rooms, NOC centers, public area where you want to take the feed to control room. It's not designed for video conferencing. The HDMI and the USB is you can work either USB or either HDMI or mirror the same thing. So whatever you have on the over the USB will output the same thing over the HDMI in case that you want to extend to a different AV system as a source. And of course, the HDBaset camera with traditional USB, like any other USB camera. Okay, the camera itself is it's a 67-degree angle. It has 10 times zoom optic. And of course, it's controlled over IP RS-232. We are using the VSCA protocol. And if there are any solutions to extend the Bluetooth signal for AV devices, not that I'm familiar with, but definitely can look into and provide you guys an answer. Okay. There are any other questions?
No, I think we finished all the questions.
Okay.
Thank
you.
Okay.
I would like to thank. Okay, go ahead, Chair.
Sure, go ahead.
So, guys, what I wanted to say again, thank you very much for joining this session. Trident and Atlona, especially myself, would be happy to assist you and answer any further questions you may have.
Thank you, Kubi, for the very informative session. And thank you all for attending today's presentation and it expanded your knowledge on the latest trends in the AV and how to approach the design rooms. Now, please, before ending the presentation, I would like to point out that at the end of the webinar, a survey will pop up on your screen and to collect your feedback on today's session. Your input is highly appreciated as we are always looking to optimize our work to fit your expectations. Also, please, if you have any questions, you can direct them to support@itrident.com and we'll be happy to answer all your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Wishing you the rest of the day to be pleasant and great. We will be sharing the recorded session after the call. Tomorrow maximum, you will be receiving an email with the recorded session, so you will have all the information shared by today. Thank you so much.